Let me just put this on. Let me just see if it's
Let me just
already
put
up.
this on. Let me just see if it's already up.
Are we live?
Are
Are
we
we
live?
broadcasting? Can
Yeah,
people
it says
see us?
live for 14
Are we
There, they
seconds.
can see it.
broadcasting? Can people see us?
All
There,
right.
they can see it. All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies
Welcome.
and gentlemen. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Joey. This is a
Hi,
good
my
friend
name
of
is
mine,
Joey. This is
Danny.
a good friend of mine, Danny.
Hello.
I'll just have to mute him
I'll
once in a
just
while
have to
because
mute him
it
once in a
plays
while
back
because
whenever I
it
say
plays back
anything.
whenever I say anything.
So we're just starting this out. We just want to be able to just at least tell a story. Um, we're we're in constant transition, and Danny and I have been through a lot together, and we've also gone through a lot of shit apart. His time is a little limited, so we'll give him all the time that he has right now because he's just on his phone. He took the time to let us invade his time and privacy. So I'll have Danny tell his story first. Danny was a former United States Army Ranger. Sir, yes, sir. So I'll have him tell the story.
Hi guys.
Go
Well,
ahead,
where do
man.
I
Go
begin?
ahead.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, as Joey said, I did serve my time, and then I did my 4 years in the U.S. Army, and then after that, I migrated to the Philippines, and starting from zero, where I met Joey about 16 years ago, and then I found the love of my life here in the PI, and I went offshore, and that's where I've been for the last 15 years until 2017, where we were laid off due to the economic downturn in the oil and gas industry. But going back, uh, talking about uh, starting for fifth time that I've been given a second chance. First 5 times, due to stupidity, I freaking threw it away. But this last one, I was in a there's definitely a life changing. I was in a motorcycle accident, which almost took my life, and it changed. I changed. The accident changed my career, which because it rendered me to be a handicap, so I can't move without using crutches. So with that being said, as a handicap, I've lost everything. Uh, Several houses, several cars, but that's all just materials, right? At least I'm still alive. So the big guy upstairs still has a plan for me. Um, but yes, I even went through the depression stage where if I didn't have something in my hand, I probably wouldn't be here today. What got me through it was interaction with people. Um, being able to talk to people again because for 2 years I was laid up in the bed because of my injuries. So I've had 5 surgeries on my right leg. That's including a titanium rod that's been embedded in my femur bone, a plate across my knee, one across my tibia, and one across my fibula, which is on my ankle. So as of now, I'm still learning how to walk, but I'm able to go to work. I'm able to start providing for my family again. And of course, we're back to renting, but with a little hard work, I'm pretty sure that we'll be back to owning a house and the cars will eventually come back again. So Yeah, that's about where I'm at. Uh, Joey,
In a nutshell, man.
In a nutshell, man. In a nutshell.
that was
You're
just in
very,
a nutshell, man.
You're very.
You know, like that song, "My Life in a Jar," just a very small jar.
yeah. Well, really sorry. I'll have
It's
to
really
put
sorry.
you on
I'll
mute.
have
It's
to put you
feedback.
on mute. The feedback.
No worries.
Yeah, like just like that, like Danny said, life is really surprising. It puts you in a very awkward position sometimes. It gives you all that opportunity. It gives you everything that you can ever want, and then it asks you, what are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna waste this, put this where it's supposed to be, take care of it, or play around, or like, you know, sometimes from what I see, we get affected by what we have, what we don't have. We're chasing things that we really can't understand. A little later, we'll try to dive deeper into that. But right now, I just want to go through a few things while we still have Danny on the line. I just really would like to know what was the heaviest, because I called him earlier before we decided to do this. I asked him because we tried to keep contact during those good times. Sometimes we lost track of each other, and then during the hard times, we were also there together. But there was a time where we had to like move away from each other. It wasn't helping anymore. Sometimes positive reinforcement is just not enough. There are certain things that you have to experience alone. And I think Danny has a really heavy message about that, an explanation of what he said. Tough love, tough love.
Tough love.
Can you hear me,
Tough
Danny?
love.
There you go.
Yeah. Um. The, they get used to that being babied,
There you go.
and so hang on a second. Hey, Joey. Sorry, dude. I gotta cut this short. I'm about to get wet. It's about to storm. Later.
No problem, man. Thank
No
you very
problem,
much for
man.
the
Thank you
time.
very
Thank
much for
you.
the time. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting wet. Bye.
Come back, come back. All right. So there. Really sad that he had to drop off. It was an abrupt broadcast, so we didn't plan this. We just did this on a whim, and what Danny what Danny went through is really profound. He did mention he lost his house, yeah, because he started from the ground up as well in the U.S. and then he lost everything. He came back and then he went to the Philippines. He started his own career again. He climbed up back the ladder. He kept motivating himself. He kept moving forward. And from that, I hope we can probably learn to see that it doesn't really matter where you are right now or how hard you think it is, how debilitating it is of like what you're going through, what you're feeling. Uh, nobody can nobody can motivate you except yourself. And it's just really sad that he wasn't able to say that sometimes tough love is necessary. It's totally different when I say it, but when he does, he explained that he lost everyone as well. Not only his money, his house, his cars, because he had a few. He bought a huge house, a beautiful pickup truck, a wonderful set of motorcycles, cross country motorcycles. He spent millions on a lot of things that he really didn't need. So slowly but surely, he lost it. He went down the drain. And then he got into an accident. All of his money disappeared. People starting disappearing. Sometimes people were sticking there, but he was still in a bad place, and he couldn't express himself properly. He couldn't like find how to do this again, how to start over. And people started leaving until he was just all alone. And then from that moment, he decided that fuck it, without a leg, I'm walking. So for me, I started from nothing as well. I got three kids, three beautiful kids, a wonderful wife, and you know, you have to see things from a different perspective always, all the time. Sometimes we compare ourselves to what we see online. We try to emulate people, we follow them or we listen to them because they got what we want, and we don't even know if that's what we really want. That's why we were supposed to set up the podcast or this video for that. We were going to try and drill down on like what motivates you, what gets you started, and then at least try to dig into it without going down a rabbit hole. we we might not have enough time to go through that. So hopefully, a few other people who I invited will be able to join us, and then explain more about this. But I really wanted to start with this, but since Danny had limited time, I just gave him the floor immediately. So this is what I wanted to say as an opening. Out of the night that covers me, as black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years find and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And this is from Mr. William Ernest Henley. This has been a guiding principle for me from the time I learned this beautiful message. I've always kept coming back to it with what little understanding I had of it to start with. I I saw that you have to be strong not only for yourself, you also have to be strong for the people around you, the people that you care for. One of the guiding reasons why I did this podcast or whatever we can call this, um, it's because I wanted to be able to reach out and at least talk to other people that have gone through something similar, something life changing. Because I've been going down the rabbit hole of Reddit lately, and I've seen, excuse me, I've um, I've seen a lot of posts, messages, venting people that um, complains. They're wallowing in their misery. They are in a very dark place, and I'm not saying that's that's too shallow for a reason to think of killing yourself. Sadly, I have personal experience with suicide. I have friends who have decided that this is no longer worth it. This is no longer like, fuck it, forget about it. I'm not going to go through this. Some of them were very, very successful. They had beautiful jobs, houses, anything and everything that people can like want and look for, but yet they decide to take their lives. And that's really sad that no one was there for them at the time, at least to talk to them. And I'm really happy that at least recently, a friend also went through some tough times. He was left without anything. I mean, just the shirt on his back. So that's his situation. Hopefully, he can join us later if he can. But you know, I think we have to adopt a certain type of perspective. We have to learn to see our lives, reassess, reaffirm ourselves, not through someone else's words, not through someone else's life, but through our own life, through our own struggles. Sometimes people will say that, oh, it's so easy for you to say that. It's so easy for you to tell me that this is the right way to do it. This is what you're supposed to do. And I can understand that. I was there too. I was young once. I got pissed off a lot of times. I'm an angry motherfucker. And and it helped in a way because now I've learned my lesson at least. I know what's important. I know what really means to what's really um, meaningful to me. I can have whatever I want. I can choose whenever I want, but I choose not to at times because I find that it's not my priority. So I guess that's also one of the things that we have to look into and understand. Priorities. We have to set priorities for ourselves, not other people's priorities, but our own, our own timeline, our own dictionary. Words are very, very powerful. They can help us or they can destroy us. So I guess that's the best way for me to like put all of this simply. My process was I decided to relearn. I decided to relearn certain words, put my own meaning to them instead of just basing it on how other people have explained it to me, or I just take lessons from everything, like a hot oven rule. I know it's hot, I know it's going to burn me, but I'll still have to touch it. So a lot of people have that, and sometimes we can just learn from other people's experiences as well. So first lesson, I guess, would be to have resiliency. That's pretty pretty vague, maybe. But if you define resiliency, it's you know tough skin, going through something that you want to achieve, so that you can get satisfaction, at least in a way you can have satisfaction for what you're doing, working for one. That can also be a motivation for you. We'll try to go down on that. We'll try to we'll try to uh, more or less go down a little shallow rabbit hole on that. So we'll see. But for now, we'll just focus on probably discuss Maslow's um, triangle of motivation, and then we'll try to define a few things from them. So we'll find a way from that story. But I'm just answering messages. People are sending me messages. Just a moment. There you go. Sorry, I'm replying to Angie live. Sorry, sorry for. Uh, well, it's just the first episode anyway, so we'll we'll go back. So again, motivation. Some people have, spent a lifetime trying to define it. Some people have died without even properly processing and understanding it. So we'll try to put it in simple terms. This is based on research, not googling it, not Wikipedia. No, this is textbooks and life experience. So I hope I make sense in a way. But we'll also look at some things from YouTube. I'm sorry, from Google. So there, back motivation to me is identifying the flame, something that burns beyond the storms that go your way and sway away from moving forward. Some people with what little hurdles they get in front of them, some people choose either to plow through that or stay there. So without proper understanding of motivation, you might get motivated too shallowly. That's why you give up too easily, or you have a profound understanding of motivation. That's why you can go forward where others fall. And it could be a very simple motivation plays a huge part in our lives. It could be as simple as cleaning your room. You can be motivated or demotivated to do that. So the tasks, or what do you call that, the factors that calls for motivation is varied, and our reaction to motivation is also varied. So going back to that, um, finding the strength to continue, like moving forward, helping yourself without others telling you what to do, letting you down. Sometimes friends are there only to a point. Mm, I mean, I'm not saying that don't go to your friends or don't ask for help, but sometimes words are too easy to come by, and we don't pay too much attention to them, maybe. Or would that be more of, unless it has that sufficient impact to us, we don't we don't pay mind to it. So we will try to start with, again, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It may be familiar to you or it might be unfamiliar. Maslow's hierarchy tells us about how we process, uh, how we become motivated or uh, help. by factors that sometimes we don't understand. Self-actualization, from for Maslow, he says that it is on top of that pyramid. Self-actualization is followed by self-esteem, and then love, belonging, safety, and then physiological. And sometimes it interchanges. There's a lot of people who don't agree with it, but still, you can still see that there are internal and external factors for your motivation, and then you can either be more motivated with money or with feeling good or feeling better with yourself, a pat on the back. So we have certain needs and wants. So people term that needs are more of your internal motivations, and then your external motivations would be your wants. It applies both work, life, and everything else. So Maslow believed that these needs are similar to instincts. It starts from your childhood. It plays a major role in moving your behavior, building or creating your behavior, your map of how you interact with people, with how you present yourself. People who have low esteem tend to be unruly, unpresentable, things like that, because they have a deficiency of needs that was not addressed during their childhood. And they could have been deprived or improperly motivated by their parents. That's why, please, if anyone is listening to this that's a parent, please be very, very careful with how you talk to your children. Be mindful of the words that you say. You're either preparing your children or putting a handicap on them. Uh, I was fortunate enough that I had a good balance between my mother and my father. I'm not saying one of the other is bad or worse or good or best than the other. No, no, no. I'm saying I had a good balance because my father didn't have a heavy hand, but he had a different approach. He never treated us like children. He treated us like adults, even from a very young age. My mother, on the other hand, had a heavy hand, but I wasn't a regular child. So maybe I had ADHD or I was hyperactive, but I needed that. I needed um, I needed uh, certain limits to be imposed, physically applied. So, because I couldn't control myself sometimes, even. So, it took a while before I understood that. But my mother didn't also treat us like children. She treated us as an adult. She expected certain things from us. Um, we also came from rock bottom going up, and then went to rock bottom again, and then went up. So this would be a certain theme in motivation. You have to understand the process. You have to see the signs, at least early on, but sometimes we're blinded by the situation, our emotions, and probably mostly about the situation that we're in. Our state of mind, I think, would be the best way to put it. Sometimes our situation puts blinders on us. So going back, um, satisfying lower level needs are very important in order to avoid unpleasant feelings or consequences, and also being able to satisfy these low level needs, as we call them, are helping us to process the day. So let's put it this way. Um, I got an improved version of this. If you can get your hands on, what's this? The 12 Rules for Life by Mr. Jordan Peterson. Props to that man. Beautiful fucking book. So if you can get your hands on this, I hope you can see it. There, there, there. Right. Right there, right there. Yeah. If you can get your hands on those, please do. It shows you guides on how to do this properly, and he tells a very beautiful story on how to do it. So going back, fulfilling your low level needs, like let's put it this way. Let's go back to the room analogy. Fixing your room as soon as you start your day, you're giving yourself a win. You're allowing yourself to feel good. It's not a like an enjoyable thing to do, but it's a task that you can complete. Something you can check off the list at least. And then once you've done that, you can tell yourself, good job. You fixed it. Now go out, fix yourself. You take a bath, you brush your teeth, probably boil a cup of coffee for yourself, just like this one, or whatever process you have for that day. Now we move to uh, your physiological needs. It usually crosses the boundaries. That's why people are not agreeing with Mr. Maslow about it, that there is no hierarchy. It's just all intertwined. But if you look at it from that perspective, from Mr. Maslow's perspective, it's a lot easier to understand and it's a lot easier to manage. And once you have that understanding, you can get a proper mindset. Once you have the mindset, I can't say that enough. I can't stress it enough. Mindset is a very, very important thing. It probably it will, I can say that from experience. Mindset can and will save your life. So we'll go to the physiological needs. Basic psychological needs are probably fairly apparent, but these things are very vital for our physiological survival. So we'll start with food, your water, your air, and at least a good balance in your feeling, in your what's the right word, state of mind there. So the basic requirements would be to have at least food, water, breathing, and a good environment there. I think that would be a good place to start. And then security and your safety needs. This is said to be the second level of Maslow's hierarchy. So physiological usually falls on the bottom. You can get this by working, and you should be motivated to work to get all these, right? So security and your safety needs, that's your financial security, your health and wellness. That's why also one thing that should be part of your list is taking care of yourself physically. When you're physically fit, like when you exercise at least, you feel good. You're sweating it out, you're processing things, you're sleeping well, not too much, just sleeping well at least. They say it's 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day. It really varies from people. So safety and security for yourself. your personal security, having a good environment. That's also part of it. And we're just simplifying this. You can agree or disagree with me. It's okay. You can do your own research and you can find and have your own dictionary for these things. I implore you to do that. I'm just giving you at least a guideline or at least a way to start, a place to start, rather. So also part of the security and safety needs is having a stable job. So that's one of the most important things. Being able to provide for yourself or your family, at least job security. That's why some people stay with a company for like for the rest of their lives. So we'll get to pick that apart a little later, but we'll just start with this. So, together with the safety and psychological levels of this hierarchy, will be referred. I'll just refer to it as basic needs, and then your social needs is also something you have to have. We are social animals anyway, but there are loners out there. Some people prefer the company of themselves sometimes. And I can understand that. I can respect that. That's not a problem. That's not an issue. It's okay. But that's also part of it. We have certain social needs. Some people are saying that it's a biological need because we all have a need to procreate. But that's different. That's a different conversation altogether. So your social needs would be uh, your desires, your it's this would be your internal motivations, love, acceptance, belonging, and this would be a little deeper into your motivations, your friendships, romantic attachments, your family, of course, your peer group, your social groups. It doesn't necessarily mean that's only the people in your office or like people around you, your friends in high school or college or whichever. And then you also have your community group, your neighbors, people around you that's in very close proximity. And I would love to take it away, but we have to include your religious preference because that also plays a huge part in who you are and your motivations. Um, your church and probably a religious organization. Some people don't have that. Some people don't believe in that, but it's also having faith allows you to dig deeper. Usually, if you don't have faith, people will like go a mile and then further if you have faith. Because if you believe at least in something, deep down you believe in yourself and you know you can get through anything and everything that comes across your life. And you don't have to believe in specific God or religion, denomination or whatever. You just have to believe that there is something out there that's looking out for you. Now, um, going back to Maslow's hierarchy, your esteem needs. This is like the fourth level, if I'm not mistaken. We may be able to get back on this. We'll discuss this with other people maybe after a while, and we'll try to dig more on this. But for now, we'll just at least try to scratch the surface. And when the needs of the bottom three levels have been satisfied, at least, the esteem needs begin to play a lot more prominent role in motivating your behavior. At this point, it becomes increasingly important to gain the respect and appreciation of others. This is this is where other people fall prey to. manipulation. This is where other people like jumping a bandwagon. It's more of belonging. When you don't have a firm foundation of who you are, a firm understanding of what you really want, you don't have your own self identity, then you this can be used against you, especially if you don't understand it. Especially, especially if you don't understand it. Now, if you can, please look into it. Try to like have a wonderful discussion with yourself about this. This falls with your efforts in getting a pat on the back. That's my simple term for it, but there could be a far better term for it. I just don't know, or I may have a different meaning for that. This relates to how you perform in front of others. When you're looking for, what's the word? Um, Appreciation. But there, I think there's another word for it somewhere. I just can't remember this. So you're more motivated when people are telling you, "Oh, you're doing a good job, wonderful, perfect." The likes on Facebook, Instagram. I think this also falls on that. It may be the main reason why people get addicted to it. It's because you're looking for um, acknowledgement. That's the fucking word. Thank you very much. Some people need to be acknowledged, and then it's a way for you to be played with sometimes. People will tell you, "Oh, you're doing great. Oh, you're doing perfect," but they have their own motivations in doing that because they probably get something out of it too. So, you have to look at that as well. Am I looking for someone else's acknowledgement, or am I acknowledging myself enough to understand it and to really have a feeling of accomplishment for myself? So some people participate in activities, professional activities, or academic accomplishments, or like athletics, teams, participations, hobbies. Also, your esteem needs would fall under that. Um, Trying to find uh, your self-esteem and recognition for what you're doing, and it also gives you confidence. It gives you that ability and develop your feelings of um, sometimes it's also abused self-confidence. Sometimes too much self-confidence is also um, mm, good, man, not good. So you have to find a good balance between that. You'd have to be able to at least know who you are, what you can do, what you're good at, and go from there. You don't need someone to tell you that you're good when you know, in fact, that you're doing good. All right? Recognize yourself. Look in the mirror. You're doing good, motherfucker. So you tell yourself that. All right? Some people go down a deep hole of self-destruction because of that. Nobody's telling me I'm doing good. Nobody's telling me I'm a good guy or whatever. So fuck that. Focus on yourself. Understand that you are doing good, even if other people are telling you that you have no value. There also, self-worth. You have to be able to give worth to yourself. As long as you're not hurting other people, then you're good. If you're not probably a serial killer, then you're good. You're doing good. If you're not manipulating other people for your own advantage, then you're good. You're doing good. Up until that time, when you're manipulating people, then you're just another piece of shit. All right. Sorry for the language, but I'd rather be myself. I'd rather be honest with how I'm doing this. if I'm going to do it again. Right? So lack of that, lack of self-esteem and self-actualization is very, very detrimental to your mental health. That's probably one of the major reasons why people commit suicide. That's from what I'm seeing, how children or kids in an early part of their life are getting abused, in a way. Because of that, they develop very low self-esteem. They never get to see themselves unequal to others, because they have already developed this process that they are useless, that they are without worth, they're inferior to others because of that. um, Probably, sadly, sometimes it comes from the very people that are important to us, during that time, during that developmental stage. Sometimes parents do not, they mean well. I understand that because I'm also a parent. I have, like I said, three kids, and they've gone through that phase. Everyone goes through that phase where they don't want to do a certain thing, they don't want to follow what you're saying, because they have their own mind, they're trying to understand it. Probably extending a little patience would be great. I really hope there are others out there that see that, how important that is. If you're an uncle, if you're like a friend, please don't tell them that your parents are wrong. No, no, that's the wrong way to approach it. The best way to approach this, I think, is to tell, probably your friend, that they need to have a conversation with their parents, in front of someone else, or they have to discuss the way how it's done with someone else, like probably an uncle or someone else, at least there to guide. Sometimes during a conversation, it can get heated up by the moment, by the emotion, of that situation. If you keep telling your child that just because he has bad grades or whatever, I'm a firm believer that you could have bad grades, but you're a great person. You know, I had bad grades. I'm not a great person, but people still come to me. I'm practically a fucking asshole and a jerk, but people still come to me in their times of need, to talk, to like ask for some guidance, and I was wondering why. Why would people listen to me? Why would you even want to like bare your fucking soul to me, when you know in fact that I will not tell you what you want to hear? I'm the guy you come to when you need to hear the truth. Dude, you're fucked up. You're using too much fucking drugs, or you're drinking too much. You have to stop this shit. You've already lost everything. And then you're still doing it, man. I'm really sorry. But I can't fucking help you if you don't want to help yourself. That's what I say most of the time. That's why I've wondered why people would come to me when that's what I say. And sometimes it's effective, sometimes it's not. Like I said, everyone has their own interpretation of things. So empower yourself with knowledge. That's the key thing. Have the right fucking mindset. Going to the top part, it's almost intertwined, maybe, or it works hand in hand with the hierarchy of needs. Your self actualization is on top, which is almost tied to your self esteem. So if you're doing good, you're feeling good, you're thinking good, and everything else follows. And like I said, a lot of people are criticizing this. Your needs and your wants do not follow a hierarchy or whatever, but based on my experience, I've been here alive, breathing for the last 40 years. And based on that, uh, probably 38 of those, no, yeah, 38 years of out of that. No, no, not 8 years old. I wasn't 8 years old. Uh, uh, I'll just say it simply. Yeah, 12 years old, I walked away from my parents, my mother actually, my sisters. Um, I walked away, and it was a huge part of my life where I learned a lot, living on my own, trying to survive on my own. Yeah, there were times I went back, but I didn't stay long. I lived out of a bag, practically. I have friends who can attest to it that I lived on their couch. I was that guy on their couch. You probably have that someone in your life as well, probably a friend or an uncle. Help them out, especially if they're still at a young age. I was 12 when I stowed away, right? Doing that gave me a lot of perspective in life. Seeing families, good and bad. Of course, every family has their own way of processing things, and that gave me perspective. I could say I am very lucky and very thankful of all those people, of all those families that took me in. Um, that's why I always say I have a lot of mothers, I have a lot of brothers, and I have a lot of fathers that took me in. They gave me an opportunity to make me a better person in my life. Um, I also went down a rabbit hole at some point. I went to a very dark place, and thankfully, because of understanding all of this, at some point in my life, I decided to make a change and make myself better. And hopefully, at least this introduction to something you might not have been aware of, or just practically glossed over when you're first year in high school or college, I'm sorry, it can help. You have that way of rewriting your own story. If you're already fucked up right now, then it's not never too late. As long as you're breathing, as long as you can live, Danny has proven it to us that he can do it with just one leg and a crutch. And if he can do it, you can do it too. You know, it's that simple. It's just that he has that capacity to motivate himself, digging himself out of that hole. So probably he has his own way of interpreting all of this motivation. But like I said, that's where you have to ask yourself, how do I motivate myself? How do I explain to myself that I need to pick myself up and go? How do I keep moving forward? I think this would be the last 10 minutes of this, but I just want to share a story. I went for a bike ride. It's 100 miles. It was a target for me. It's a way of reaffirming myself. I just turned 40. I did it, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken. I went for a bike ride for uh, 16 hours. Stopped somewhere along the way, but I reached that target, 100 miles. Through those 100 miles, 50 miles was not a problem because it was just normal. It was a normal distance that I did, but I never did 100 miles in one go. It's usually 50 miles or 60, 70, and then stop. rest, sleep over, and then go back the same distance. So the 100 miles I went just nonstop, just went 5 minutes, 10 minutes, stop, drink a water, smoke a cigarette, and then go again. What I learned during that time, I think it was around 80 miles, 80 or 85 miles. My legs were already like fucking shouting, dude, you gotta stop, you gotta stop. A little backstory to that. When I started, there was this small climb for like along the way. I popped my knee. I could excruciating pain. My something didn't align right while pedaling. But I just went through. I just kept going. I just kept going, pedaling slowly. There's no fucking time limit. I'm not on a race. It was just me and the road and that 100 miles. I was just constantly checking the distance. So that was my guiding principle. That was the guide I had. So that's also one of the things that you need to have in your life. That guide, that target. You have to set an objective, reach it, however small it is. Once you reach it, tell me how you feel. It's going to be fucking beautiful. So there. So while pedaling through the excruciating pain, somewhere along the way you'll get numb to it. It was like a metaphor for life. Slowly but surely, I got there. I met some people along the way. People were talking to me along the way. Dude, where are you going? You're like packed to the brim because my bag was packed. I had a backpack. Bags were strapped on my bike. I was planning to sleep over somewhere, but I ended up getting picked up by my wife, my beautiful wife, and my loving wife. She picked me up 100 miles away after. Um, uh, so along the way, I realized a few additional things that I may have forgotten or just re-remembered because I was already questioning myself around 85 miles. I was telling myself, the sun beating down on my face, it was like, what, 115 degrees. It's really fucking hot, sweating my fucking balls off. I couldn't almost breathe anymore. My knees were killing me. My ankle was killing me. My legs was killing me. But in my mind, I was already having a conversation. We'll get to that later. I was already having a conversation. I was telling myself, "What the fuck are you trying to prove? What the fuck are you going to get with this, man? There's no parade on the end of the line. There's not even a finish line, motherfucker. Just stop, sit down, just give up. Call your wife, ask her to pick you up, and then we go home. Have a shot of whiskey, and you're good. You don't have to get to the 100 miles. You don't need it. You've already done that 100 times over." But af- through that, I just realized that sometimes we also pull ourselves back. Our biggest enemy would be ourselves. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the very first time I was being demotivated by myself. My own body was giving up. Fucking old fart. That expected. Um, my body was already telling me, dude, that's enough, man. That's enough. You, you have nothing to prove. You can give up. I was being demotivated, I'm sorry, by my own self. I was being told by myself, give up, give up. And it was funny. Man, it was funny. I answered back, fuck you, shut up, and keep pedaling. Fuck you, shut up, and keep pedaling. I think the video is here on YouTube as well of that me, yeah, saying "fuck you" on the finish line when I finally got there. Um, when I saw the countdown going past 100 miles, it was it was better. It was almost like sex. It was almost like sex. Like you came at some point after that when I saw that 100 and then 0101, it just kept going forward. So I was able to understand that sometimes you can also pull yourself back from getting where you are. You're what's that? Self sabotaging your own actions. I don't know if you've seen that happen in your life. Maybe, maybe not. Hopefully, you never do. But I just realized there were also points in my life where I was doing that unconsciously. I wasn't performing at work. I was not honest with people I dealt with, relationships I was in. I was lying to myself. In turn, I was lying to them. So I think the lesson we have to learn that number one, talk to yourself. You have to have a really, really deep conversation with yourself. You have to ask yourself, why are we here? What are we doing? How long will it take us to get there? Set your goal. At least probably start with, I'm going to make coffee tomorrow, right? And once you process that with yourself, start setting goals with people around you. It could be a spoken, uh, it could be a spoken contract between you or an unspoken contract between you. If you have friends, pull them up with you. When you succeed, succeed with your friends. Don't leave them hanging. If you can help them get a better version of themselves, maybe through work, or if you see that they're going down a rabbit hole, reach out. It's it's not too much. I mean, we have the fucking technology, fucking internet. Use it properly instead of just scrolling through boobies and shit. Look through your friend contacts. Reach out to a friend. Maybe they can pull you up. Maybe they can help you. You know, if you're going through some shit, then maybe they can help you. Maybe they can help you make a better version of themselves, or you can help them make a better version of themselves. Second, have that mindset. Find the mindset. It's it's going to be the most important decision you're going to have in your life. Decide, I want to make a better version of myself and help everyone along with me. Hopefully, this wasn't a waste of your time. um, I wasn't able to see any questions being posted. Oh, there we go. There. Sorry. We have a friend who's asking Mr. Ruel Gulinao, why do you think people willfully and consciously engage in self-destruction, or I'm sorry, self-destructive habits while ignoring our better judgment? That's a beautiful question, sir. That's a very, very beautiful question. Thank you very much. Um, the way I see it, when you're going through a tough decision in life, or you're going through a very, very rough patch in life, you'd rather go through negative. That's the easy way out. Self 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 destruction is probably one of the most innate unconscious decisions we have, a nihilistic point of view. It could be very, very unconscious to us. We're all dying anyway, right? So why the fuck do this better? We're all dying anyway. So when you don't, when you have that perception, when you're looking at life through that lens, through that filter, especially like I said, if you're going through a very, very rough um, situation in your life, if you're going through probably some misunderstanding with your partner, your marriage is falling apart, or you just lost your job, you have very low self worth. So you don't see any reason, you don't see any, yeah, reason. That's it. You don't see any reason why you should bother to fucking fix yourself. You don't have the right state of mind to motivate yourself properly. So again, motivation is a double-edged sword, just like everything else. It's a two-way street. Motivation could be positive, motivation can also be negative, depending on your state of mind, depending on your mindset, depending especially on your mindset. If you're in a very dark place, you won't want to see the light. You've gotten accustomed to the darkness. Just like when you wake up, if you're coming out of a dark room, you open the light, fuck, you close your eyes, right? That's a knee jerk reaction. It's something that um, we react naturally to. So most people would rather stay in the dark than go outside and play. I really hope I answered your question, Mr. Gulinao. Hopefully, I was able to answer that. So, going back, I really hope I was able to at least explain this to you or make some sense out of this. I hope I made some sense. Thank you very much for your time. I really, really appreciate you listening to this, and I hope there was a way, in some way, I was able to answer some questions that you had in mind, probably. And then just please, if you want to talk about this again, if you want to jump in, let me know. Go through the comments, send me a message. Um, we'll go from there. Hopefully, this is going to be something that's moving forward continuously. I'll try to motivate myself to do this. I'll try to motivate myself to do this more. Again, thank you very much. Good evening. And remember, you are always in constant transition. You are not on a fixed plane. You are constantly moving. So you have to decide, are you going to move forward or backward? Have a beautiful and safe night. Thank you very much.